Hi, in this video we're going to be learning the basics of the command line through using a command line interface tool, or a CLI. Now when I say basic, this doesn't mean that these commands are basic and there are advanced ones, but it only means that these are the fundamental commands and these are the ones that you're going to be using 90% of the time. Things like creating and editing files and directories, navigating around your file system, and deleting stuff and moving and copying stuff and a bunch of other things that you can do using the command line, which is faster than, in a lot of cases, faster than using your mouse and keyboard, so it increases your productivity. Now for this video I'm going to be using the popular tool called Git Bash, and it's popular for a reason because it installs both the bash shell on your machine and Git. Now the bash shell is the shell that allows you to use Unix commands, which you can find on Linux or any other Unix-based system, and even on a Windows machine. Now it's better to learn the Unix commands because in most cases servers run Linux, so if you're gonna manage a server, you're gonna have to write Linux commands at one point or another, so it's better to use Unix commands even on a Windows machine. So if you're on a Windows machine, just go to gitforwindows.org and download and install Git Bash. I've already got it downloaded and installed. If you're on a Linux, I believe you have these commands by default, but you can also do apt-get install bash, and you're gonna have bash. And if you're on a Mac, I don't know, Google it. I'm sure you can figure it out. So okay, so let's start using the command line. Okay, so now that you've got Git Bash installed, you can just go on to Windows, click on Windows and click bash, type bash rather, and you'll find Git Bash. And if you hit enter, it's gonna start this this terminal window. Let's close this, and let me make the text bigger here so you can see it clearly. Now this opens by default in your home directory, which is usually your user folder. So to find which directory you're in right now, you can run this command called pwd, and it's gonna give you, for me right now I'm in my user folder, so users Ahmed, and pwd stands for print working directory. Remember that so that you can actually not just memorize pwd. It's easier to know that it stands for print working directory. And by the way guys, I advise you to have a cheat sheet and write some of these important commands and right in front of them what they actually do, so in case you forget them or later you want to use and you're like, oh, what is that command I used last time, you can always refer to your cheat sheet, which is really useful. That's just my suggestion. I think it's a good thing to do. Okay, so let's do something. Okay, what do we want to do? Let's say we want to create a website, right? And we want to create a directory with all the files of this website in. Okay, we can go to our desktop by doing cd desktop, because desktop is in your users folder, and cd stands for change directory. So whenever you want, you can do cd and go to any directory you want. So let's actually create our website, our potential website. So mkdir is make directory, and let's type the name of the directory, which is website. So now if I look here, there's an empty folder called website we just created. So to go into this again, we can do cd website, and now we're inside our website. Now our website needs an index.html, so let's create that. So we can do touch index.html, and before I hit enter, I want to open this, and if I hit enter here, it's going to create an index.html, which is empty and has nothing inside of it. So let's say we wanted to create more files. We want to create a script.js file and a CSS style CSS file. We can create multiple files as well with touch. You can do script.js and styles.css CSS. And there we go. We have both our files on the left hand side. Now let's say we want to put our styles in a folder. Now obviously we're doing this on our local machine, so you might be like, why am I not clicking here and creating folders? Now this is faster, and not all the time you're gonna have access to the files like this as a direct access to your files. Sometimes you have only shell access to your server instead of FTP access. So this is one of the reasons you should learn the terminal. Okay, so let's say we wanted to create a folder and move our styles into it. So let's create a folder called styles. So make the styles, and now we want to move our styles into it. We can run this command called mv to move our file into it. So we can do mv, which takes two things, the file and the directory. We can do mv styles.css, and now we can give it this directory. So styles, and now it's gonna move that and it's gonna go inside of the styles. So we can also actually give it a name. So if we move this back, let's quickly just move this here. By the way, you can, if you want to go back to your history, you can just do up and down arrows and you can see all the commands you ran. In case you didn't want to type one again, you can just up arrow and like hit enter again. And one other useful thing in the command line is if you type some command, let's say I type move and I did styles and I put Z instead, and I don't want to like delete all of that and then start again, you can just Control C, which will cancel this current command, and you can just start typing a new one. So you can just Control C. And if the console gets kind of cluttered like this, you can just run clear and you will clear the console. Okay, so let's say we wanted to know what files we have in this directory. We can run this command called ls, and ls gives us lists all the files in white and directories in blue like this. So styles is a folder. Let's say we wanted to get more information. We can do ls and we give it this option la. Now this is gonna give us a bunch of information, like this is whether you have write and read access as this user to this file, who's the user that created this, and these files, and the size of the files, and the time they were created, and the names of the files. And these two, this dot is this current directory, and the dot is the parent directory. Every directory has these two. So if we do cd ... we're gonna go back to the desktop, and now let's go back to the website. Let's say I wanted to go to this styles from the website. Instead of typing cd website, enter, and then cd styles, we can just type this cd website / styles. And now we're in styles, and we didn't have to type two commands. And let's say we wanted to go back 2 levels. We can type cd ... and then cd ... again, but that's too much. We can do this instead. So cd ... and cd ... and now we've executed 2 commands in one line. Now you can chain any number of commands you want. You can execute 100 commands if you wanted. Doesn't make a, you can execute any number of commands. So let's see what other uses ls can be useful for. So let's say you had a lot of files and you didn't want to type ls because it's gonna list too many files. Let's say you just wanted to check whether you have an index.html file or not. So you can just do ls index.html, and now it gives us index.html. And if this file doesn't exist, you can do like ls index2.html. It will say that no such file or directory. Okay, so let's clear the console. And what can we do now? Let's say we want to open this folder. So we want to go and open the styles folder. We can do this thing. So we can do start styles, and it will start this directory. Or we can just we can browse into styles, so cd styles, and we can do start dot, which starts this current directory and opens it as a window. This is useful sometimes when you're when you want to actually move the files or something and you don't want to use the command line. Sometimes it's faster to copy files. Most times it's faster to copy files using a mouse and keyboard. If you're on a local machine, if you're on a server, you're going to have to use these commands. Now you can always, if you're not sure how to use a command, you can always do this. Let's say you're not sure how to use the command ls. You can do ls -- help, and it will print all this documentation telling you what flags you can use, which are these options, and how to use. So it gives you like here ls option and file. It tells you a bunch of stuff that you need, that you might find useful using some commands. Okay, let's say we wanted to create some more files. Let's go back to our website and let's clear the command. And let's say we wanted to create some files and then delete them. How do we delete files? Okay, let's create. So I'm going to do touch text.text, and I'm going to create another one called text2 and another one called text3. Okay, oops, I created a .tx file, but it doesn't matter. So we have them right here. And let's say we want to delete the first one. We can do rm text.txt, which stands for remove, and now it removes it. And this works as well on multiple files. We can do rm text2.txt, and we give it that text3.tx that we created, and now it's going to delete both of them. We can also do rm star, which deletes all files in this directory, but I'm not going to do that because I need these files to do stuff on. We can also remove directories. So if we wanted to remove styles, rm styles wouldn't work because it's a directory, but we can do the Windows. Actually, this is available on Windows as well. It's not just Unix. Remove directory, styles, and it's going to remove styles. And now we can make that directory again by doing make dir styles, and we can go into that styles and create another file called index.html, and we can go back and we can do ls styles, and it will give us the files that are inside of styles without us going inside of styles and type in ls. Now if we try to remove this directory now, it's gonna fail because this directory it's not empty, it has some files. But what we can do is we can do rm, and we give it this option of r, and do styles, and now it deletes that directory with the files inside of it. And r stands for recursive, which means recursively apply this command to every file and directory inside of this directory that we've selected. Now let's say we wanted to create a file with some content. That's easy. We can use this this greater than syntax, which can be used to create some files. So we can do text.text like this, creates the file, and this, by the way, creates only one file. We can't do multiple because this is used to like combine files into multiple files into one, but I'm not gonna get into that because it's not useful at all. You'll never use that command. But what you will use, you can do this. So echo, let's say hello world, and do greater than, and we do text2.txt, and this will give us a text2 file with the content saying hello world inside of it. We can also read this file from the command line using this command called cat. So cat text2.txt, and it will give us the content of that file, which is hello world. Now I have this index.html file here, which is empty, so let's delete it. So rm index.html, and I have an index.html file in the desktop right here, which I want to bring in. So we can do that by, let's cd back, and let's do ls index.html to make sure that it's there. So it's here. We can do cp, which stands for copy, cp index.html into our folder, which is website, and we can even give it a different name. Now let's say website.html. Now it's gonna copy all that content from this index.html, which by the way we can see using cat. So cat index.html. We have this basic HTML stuff with the title, and it's even indented. And if we go inside of our website and we do cat website.html, and we find that it's exactly the same content because we copied it into it. Now if we delete this, so remove website.html, and let's say we want to move this index.html, so cut and paste basically, we can just do mv index.html into our website directory. We can give it a name, or if we don't give it a name, it's gonna give it the same name. So if we do this, now we have index.html here, and if we go to the desktop, that index.html is gone because it was moved. Okay, now let's say I wanted to edit something inside of this index.html. I wanted to change the title. We can use the Vim text editor, which is a cool command line text editor. So we can do vim index.html, and this will open up our index.html. That's actually, I think I opened it in the wrong directory. Yeah, in the desktop. By the way, if you do vim, a file that doesn't exist, it's gonna create it. So I just actually created an empty. Oh, I didn't save. I didn't create it. Okay, so if we here inside of website want to edit this, we can do actually, let's clear the console and let's do vim index.html, which opens up our index.html, and it's even syntax highlighted. Let's say I wanted to change this title, and I wanted to call it, instead of title, I want to call it my website. Now this is Vim. When you finish typing stuff, you can just click escape, and when you click escape, you can now hit a command that says whether you want to save or leave or whatever. So let's do colon, and by the way, you can see down here is typing. :X will save and exit, and :Q will not save. But now that we've made some changes, if we do :Q, it's gonna complain because we didn't save the changes and we wanted to exit. But we can force exit by doing Q and exclamation mark, which is gonna exit without saving. But we don't want to do that, we want to save. So let's do X. If I hit enter, now the index has been edited. If I do cat index.html, we see that our title has changed to my website instead of just title. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into Vim because I can make an entire video just about Vim. I suggest you only use Vim if you're on a server, you only have SSH access. But if you are on your local machine, there's no reason for you not to use like a text editor, which gives you way more functionality, which is going to make your editing way more productive. So let's say I'm going to do this quickly. I'm going to create a directory here called new directory. I'm going to put all my files here. Now let's say I wanted to copy my files from that new directory to a different directory. So let's create this directory, call it make dir different directory, like diff dir, doesn't matter. And I wanted to copy all the content from inside of new dir. I can just do this, cp and do new directory /* which means everything, and give it this directory, diff dir. Now if I go to new dir, the files are still there. If I go to diff dir, the files are copied into this. And of course we can do the same with mv. And let's say I ran a command, and I made a mistake. I ran a command, and this command takes some time to execute, and I want to leave it. I can run this command. Ignore the command for now if you don't understand this. It's just a command that takes some period of time. So if I run this, I'm like, oops, I didn't want to run this. You can interrupt it by doing Control-C, and it just stops what it's doing. And if you want to leave the console, like the command line itself, you can just type exit, and it's going to close it. And I believe that's all the important commands that you need to learn on the command line interface. These are the ones you'll use 95% of the time. Sometimes you're going to use maybe another command and then you can Google it and find it. But these, generally speaking, these are the commands that you are going to be using mostly. And yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you've learned something at least. I hope you've learned a lot, and I hope it's been enjoyable for you. And if you like this video, please consider dropping a like, subscribing, and if you want to ask me anything, or if you have criticism, praise, whatever, feel free to pour your heart out in the comment section. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.